Welcome back to The Breakdown. Today we're going to be doing another video in our series of how things make money. Today, how truck stops make money. Now, we often have a lot of conversations here. We've done videos before on things like gas stations and golf courses and more. But the gas station video, I noticed a lot of people were talking about profit in truck stops versus gas stations. They're actually very different in how they operate, how they price things, and how they run. So how do truck stops make money, and how are they different from your traditional gas station? We're going to be breaking that all down here, talking about how truck stops make their money and the ever-changing world of truck stops out there. There's a lot to change in them, and there's a lot about to change in that industry as they get ready to deal with the way people power their vehicles changing. So let's dive into it. But first, if you're new here, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. Hopefully we can help you learn something new. If you want to find other videos like this on things like how do gas stations make money, check out the playlist I'll throw up here where you can find out how gas stations make their money and compare it to how truck stops do it too. We'll talk about that in this video too. But we would love to hear from you. Are there other videos like this you want us to make? Is there something out there you want us to talk about how people make their money on? I find often people assume they know how a business makes their money, but they're often wrong. Or how they made their money has changed over time. It's like truck stops have changed how their primary money makers are. So let's dive into it. How do truck stops make their money? Well, it's kind of complicated out there because a lot of truck stops have changed in the last 30 years how they make money. Now, there's still diesel being sold and gas being sold and often mechanics on site and more, but increasingly that's becoming a smaller chunk of their profit margins. That's a way to bring people in, and with competition in truck stops becoming even more common to have truck stops from different brands directly across the street from each other, it's really changed, especially with the mom and pop truck stops becoming less and less common as bigger chains move in and take them over, or mom and pops buy the branding rights to bigger chains out there to license the name and sell it under that brand. Now, truck stops are very different than gas stations. For example, truck stops still make a decent amount of money on diesel, unlike gas stations, which basically sell fuel almost at break even, a little bit of profit, not much. To get you in, truck stops do still make a decent amount of money off of fuel, averaging between 15 and 30 cents per gallon of diesel compared to gas, which most gas stations make 2 or 3 cents per gallon on the gas. Now, keep in mind, this is profit. I had some people in my last video say, oh, there's no way they're only marking up 2 or 3 cents. No, that's the profit they try to aim for after they have all their expenses covered for the delivery, the fuel, the storage, the lossage of the kind of build in there, and staffing and more. You kind of target to be a profit margin of about 2 or 3 cents on gas. And in diesel at truck stops, they jump that up to 15 to 30 cents per gallon. That's because truck stops have kind of a captured audience. There's not a lot of competition, even if there's one across the street. It's not like I can just drive down the corner with my big semi truck and stop at a local gas station to get gas. Most gas stations don't have fuel pumps set up for large 18-wheeler trucks, for example. So keep that in mind. You know, the diesel is profitable, but it's not how gas stations and truck stations and more make their money. So keep that in mind. Now, the other way they do it is passenger vehicles. Now, passenger vehicles have always been a big commodity as people drive cross country, increasingly in higher numbers, especially after what happened in 2001. Then we see more and more truck stops becoming more friendly to the families that drive around to avoid flying out there and to try to save money. Let's be honest, if you have a family of 5 or more, it's often far cheaper to drive and get a hotel than it is to fly, even if it takes more time. But gas at truck stops are often higher costs because they have a slightly higher profit margin on it. I've read different numbers, but I see often 5 cents or less is still the target for many truck stops on the profit per gallon per gas after expenses. This all really comes down to the main goal of getting you inside the truck stop. The goal here is to get you inside to buy food, to buy commodities, to get those little tinker toys or activities to keep your kids quiet in the back seat. Or, you know, if you're a trucker, to buy groceries, to buy basic commodities and more. The convenience store for most truck stops is the #1 profit center, selling the highest profit margins. You ever buy a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk from a truck stop? Way more expensive than going to a grocery store, because they know they have a captive audience that will pay it. Because if you're a mom and dad, you're rushing to get to the hotel or the next stop to get your kids out of the car. If you're a trucker, you're limited. You have so many hours on the road. You have to make certain stops. Truck stops become a key component of that out there. Now, food and drinks and coffee and all that from the actual convenience store is big. Increasingly in the last 30 years, restaurants have really changed in truck stops, from independent small shops to increasingly brand names that are either A, run by the truck stop, or lease the space out to other companies to do it. Some truck stops now have a mixture. They'll have their own restaurant, but then they'll also lease out to independent contractors out there to maybe bring in a brand name place like a Subway, McDonald's, Burger King, and more. Though many bigger truck stops actually run those themselves and license the ability to do that and then have their staff operate them. It really depends on your location. But a well-run restaurant can be very profitable. Though the days of the mom and pop restaurants have gone away, with Denny's and IHOP and more moving into many big truck stops for a sit-down meal. Now, truckers aren't the only one who like to do a sit-down meal at truck stops. They may be stuck there because of the rules that they can only drive so much time. In the last 30 years, the ability for truck drivers to just crank it down the road and keep driving has gone down. So they need more amenities there. And things like showers, restaurants, movie theaters, shows, events, and more have really driven up the profit at truck stops by charging things for showers and all these features. Wasn't that long ago that some of these features were free. Now we're seeing increasingly paid areas to hang out, paid trucker lobbies and more, becoming popular, but also becoming controversial because these used to be free. But for truck stops, these kind of services, whether it be the restaurant, the trucker's lounge, the showers, and more, are seen as profit centers. And that brings us to number 4. The biggest change in the last few years is a effort for truck stops to be more than just a place to get gas. Now, there's always been mechanics at truck stops for a very long time, but the services they offer are increasingly skyrocketing. Scales, Wi-Fi centers, and maintenance services for your truck, or to buy a ton of custom features for your truck and get it put on right at the truck stop. You're captive, you're there. Hey, why don't you buy a new XYZ product for your truck out there? And then you can go and then get it installed in your video or in your truck out there. Is a big profit center for many truck stops that they're exploring. Also, higher end food, higher end products. Instead of just being really low quality, increasingly truck stops are trying to be higher quality. So that's really how truck stops are making their money. Fuel and gas, while more profitable than a traditional gas station, are still pretty low margin items in an attempt to get you to stop there, to go into the convenience store, to visit the restaurants, whether they operate them or lease them out, and to take advantage of their many other services, from maintenance, Wi-Fi, showers, movie theaters, and more, all at the truck stop in order to get you to buy their products and spend more money there. Now, as Americans go to electronic vehicles, many truck stops have started to install charging stations. Now, the thing about charging stations is, unlike gas vehicles or diesel, it takes a longer amount of time to do it, which makes truck stops actually a future look pretty bright right now. You see companies like Tesla even looking at launching Tesla restaurants with charging stations, Cracker Barrel putting charging stations in at their restaurants for the purpose of, hey, while your vehicle charges, come inside and get a restaurant meal at Cracker Barrel or at the truck stop, or come inside and just shop, with more and more items being put up for sale out there and more activities, playgrounds, and more being installed at truck stops to try to take advantage of that. Look for truck stops to really change. Now, a lot of people talked about them going away because you won't need to buy fuel. In reality, it's probably going to become more and more common for long haulers to take advantage of truck stops for longer periods of time and spend more money there, because it takes a longer amount of time to charge your electric vehicle. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Well, there you go. There is the video for the day. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Is there another topic like this you want me to cover? Does it surprise you that truck stops don't make most of their money off the fuel? Typically, the convenience store is the #1 profit margin within a truck stop. selling the food, the drinks, the trinkets, and more, followed by restaurants, followed by maintenance and all kinds of other services they may offer. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. And if there's another topic like this you want us to cover. So until next time, take care. Thanks for your support. We'll be back with another video real soon.